It's October 20, 2016. We're in Minneapolis for do or die Game 5 of the WNBA Finals. The Minnesota Lynx are up on the Lynx-Sparks by 1 point. In 9.4 seconds, we're either going to call the Sparks the never-give-up champs who finally did it, or we're going to call the Lynx a legendary dynasty. And, while one of those sounds a little better than the other, I don't think it feels that way to the players involved. You gotta consider the history here. Let's go ahead and rewind. The reigning champion Lynx are a powerhouse, and have been since these four have been together, which is a long time. Simone Augustus, the jump-shooting six-time All-Star, has been with the Lynx since they drafted her first overall in 2006. In 2010, she was joined by defensive-minded rebound magnet Rebecca Brunson and the passing savant Minnesota native Lindsay Whalen. But the Lynx still didn't make the playoffs. Then, everything changed in 2011. Because of Maya Moore. The Lynx drafted Moore first overall out of UConn, where she won 2 championships. Moore was easily Rookie of the Year, but not only that, with Moore, the Lynx looked like a jigsaw puzzle owned by one of those organized families that doesn't lose any pieces. In 2011, they didn't just make the playoffs for the first time in 7 years, they won them. And it turns out the Minnesota Four were just getting started. They returned to the finals in 2012, where the Fever beat them in 4 games. But don't worry, in 2013 they swept the entire playoffs to once again wear the championship crown, in the form of snapback hats that are arguably more desirable than a literal crown. 2014 was a rare off year in which they only made it to the conference finals. To make sure something so horrific never happened again, they traded for Sylvia Fowles for rim protection and the calming leadership presence that only a future mortician could provide. Seriously, Fowles is studying to be a mortician because people contain multitudes. How'd the trade go? Well, the Lynx won another championship and Fowles was finals MVP. Just when you thought the Minnesota roster couldn't get any better, the front office set out to prove you wrong. They bolstered the bench with unselfish role players good enough to be starters elsewhere. Renee Montgomery literally turned down a starting position and a bigger paycheck in New York to stay with the Lynx as Whalen's backup. Why? Simple. Lynx got a good thing going, which was even better this year. They jumped out to a 12-0 start and then had to compete in the battle of the unbeatens. 2 undefeated teams enter, 1 undefeated team leaves. This final sneak peek was a heated contest that went down to the wire. The Lynx took it by 3 thanks to their rebounding prowess and a clutch Montgomery three-pointer with under 10 seconds to go. After a 13-0 start, Minnesota finished with a franchise-best record. Oh, and by the way, the Lynx did more than win games this season. They also stood up against racism and violence, starting a movement that spread throughout the league and eventually caused the WNBA to change their policy from fining players who wore warm-ups with statements of social justice to appreciating their players expressing themselves on matters important to them. In the postseason, Moore led the Lynx straight through the Mercury and into the finals for the 5th time in 6 years. With a 4th title in the balance, the Lynx could cement themselves as a dynasty, up there with the greatest dynasty to ever rule over the WNBA, the Houston Comets. If, of course, they can get a stop here, which they're certainly trying for, staying tight on LA's franchise player Candace Parker. After Parker won back-to-back NCAA titles with Tennessee, the Sparks picked her up first overall in 2008. Parker joined Lisa Leslie and was so good. She won both Rookie of the Year and MVP at the same time, something Wilt Chamberlain and Wes Unseld did in the 60s, and then nobody else did ever again until Parker entered the scene. When Leslie retired, it was assumed Parker would pick up the torch, leading LA to more rings and acclaim. But it didn't happen. She's had plenty of individual accomplishments, but the Sparks struggled to get deep into the playoffs. What kept Candace Parker from leading the Sparks to glory? Well, she struggled with injuries, and had the misfortune of being in an incredibly competitive Western Conference. The closest Parker got was the Western Conference Finals against the Lynx in 2012. Parker had a great series, particularly in Game 2, but it wasn't enough to avoid a sweep. In both 2013 and 2014, the Mercury took out LA in the conference semis. Last year, Parker took half the season off to rest from the demanding year-round schedule that is women's professional basketball. The Sparks suffered without Parker, but the rest must have been good for her, because when she got back, she enjoyed herself. The Sparks got themselves to the playoffs where their old pal Minnesota took them out in the conference semis. Determined to make this year different, LA had a much better start, going 20-2. Though this season Parker had quite a few personal setbacks. The two-time gold medalist was left off the Rio Olympic team in a huge, confusing slight. As if solely to kick her when she's down, the media didn't vote her first-team All-WNBA or second-team All-WNBA. It didn't make sense to former star and analyst Rebecca Lobo, or any of us, really. But worst of all, Parker lost her Tennessee coach and current mentor Pat Summitt to Alzheimer's disease. The two had remained close since Parker left school. They were like family. It hasn't been the easiest season in the world, but you couldn't tell from Parker's performance. The Sparks finished with the second-best record in the league, got past the Sky in the semis, and made their first finals in 13 years. Parker's long-awaited first finals ever. And while getting to the finals is an accomplishment, sure, it's not exactly what the Sparks are going for. Tonight, Parker's put up 28 in her efforts to accomplish their goal. But with two dominant defenders between her and point guard Chelsea Gray, the ball might not be headed her way. Though not the biggest name on the team, Gray could take it herself. This April, the Sparks traded for the backup point guard to get more size and strength off the bench behind Kristi Tolliver. And the quick 5'11" Chelsea Gray fit the bill. She learned from the talent around her on and off the court, to the extent that she ordered the same pregame meals as the vets. I bet that made the vets eat healthier. Weird, kinda reverse peer pressure. Gray proved herself invaluable off the bench. She scored a career-high 23 against the Mercury, but that wasn't what impressed her coach and teammates the most. After getting no playing time against the Fever, Gray didn't get mad or sad or cripplingly insecure. Instead, the very next game, she dropped 20 points in under 18 minutes. And against the Lynx, no less. Elena Beard called it her breakout game. And you better believe Gray stepped up in these finals. The Sparks won Game 1 off Elena Beard's buzzer beater, assisted by, you guessed it, Chelsea Gray. It wasn't the play the Sparks planned to run, but with the Lynx D all over Parker, Tolliver, and Nneka Ogwumike, Gray and Beard had to improvise. In Game 2's trouncing, Gray wasn't so hot, but neither were any of the Sparks. The Lynx held them to 33% shooting and out-rebounded LA 46-32. The Sparks came back to take Game 3 so decisively that Lynx coach Cheryl Reeve called her own team feeble. Game 4, with a chance to win it all at home, the Sparks stars were quiet, but our girl Gray wasn't. She led LA with 20 points, including 4 three-pointers, one of which cut the deficit to just 2 points with 2:08 left. But it wasn't enough. Perhaps because Maya Moore scored 31 points, perhaps because with less than a minute left, Minnesota committed an 8-second violation that the refs missed. Either way, this series was going to do-or-die Game 5, where Gray came up huge once again. From the end of the third to the middle of the fourth, she scored 11 points in a row, giving LA a 1-point lead. Chelsea Gray is hot, which is reason enough for her to take this herself. Though there is another big name on the floor for the Sparks. Like quite a few others in this game, Nneka Ogwumike was drafted first overall. Back in 2012, the Sparks picked her to form an athletic front court with Parker. She was Rookie of the Year and All-Star in 2013, 14, and 15, and was first-team All-Defense last year, too. And this year, she took her game to a whole nother level and won MVP. She shot 66.5% from the field in the regular season. In a 3-game stretch, she made 23 consecutive field goals, including going 12 for 12 in one of those games. How is she so efficient? Couple of ways. 1, she gets open without the ball. 2, she's been clicking with Candace Parker. And 3, she can make her own opportunities with the ball. But I should mention, Ogwumike contributes more than points, my friends. She was once again first-team All-Defense this year, and she's been logic-defying off the glass, averaging a career-high 9.1 rebounds per game. In short, Ogwumike works. Let's take a look at the play Ogwumike herself says is the epitome of how she's been playing this year. In Game 1 of the semis, she blocked Jessica Breland, grabbed the loose ball, and then outran everyone to score. That's Nneka Ogwumike. And she's sticking with her game in these finals. Except in Game 4's loss, which I hate to bring up because it spoils the mood, Ogwumike wasn't enough of a presence underneath, and Minnesota out-rebounded LA 41-25. The silver lining? Now Ogwumike knows what she has to do to win tonight.
Ask Nneka Ogwumike to fill in the blank. You will win tonight if what? And she said, if I rebound.
Her aggression on the boards has made a huge difference here in the fourth. With 7:42 remaining, Ogwumike ran in from the three-point line, slicing her way through defenders to grab the offensive rebound and put it back, giving the Sparks their largest lead of the game, 3 points. Off a Lynx miss, Ogwumike kept fouls from getting the rebound. Yeah, she did pick up her 5th foul on offense, but Coach Brian Agler's not about to take her out. The Sparks are on a bit of a run. With 3 minutes to go, they had an 8-point lead. But remember, they're playing the Lynx. Moore hit a blink-and-you-miss-it turn-and-release 3. Brunson hit a tough shot in the lane. Whalen was like, "Hey LA, what'd you plan during your timeout?" JK, I don't care. Tie game with 1:48 left. On the next possession, Ogwumike spun and scored, but that's a shot clock violation that wasn't called. And since the refs didn't review it right away and action continues, they couldn't review it later. The basket counts. Down 1 with 23 seconds to go, the Sparks took their last timeout. Then that Ogwumike-Parker chemistry put them up 1. After Minnesota's last timeout, Maya Moore put the Lynx back up 1. And here we are. With no timeouts for anybody, it's only the players on the floor right now controlling their fate. Can LA, with a proven reserve, the breakout MVP, and an emotionally wounded vet, win their first title in 13 years? Or are the Lynx a unit too strong to falter? Working together so well for so long, are they about to capture their 4th title in 6 years and ascend to dynasty status? Let's find out. Welcome to A Moment in History.
Gray rumbles in, fading away. No, Ogwumike denied. Another chance. It's good. Nneka Ogwumike puts it home with 3.1 to go.
Heyo! Thanks for watching, everybody. Want more WNBA videos? We got you. Want more last-second heroics? We got you. Want $1 million? We don't have you, but we wish you the best. For Secret Base, I'm Clara Morris. Good night and good game.